So if you don't know what Second Life is, thank God, because it's a rabbit hole that leads to your straight and ultimate demise. That or you'll be wearing thigh highs by the end of this video. Basically the same thing. But Second Life was the VRChat before VRChat. The chicken before the egg. The rock before the stone. The homosexual before the sapien.
Are you j***ing off?
No.
I hear you slapping your meat.
It basically was the primitive version of VRChat before VRChat was even a thing. Believe it or not, yes, there was just as worse of a platform than VRChat that almost helped pave the way for it to become what it is today, and was even credited for being the first ever metaverse. Second Life released all the way back in, you ready for this? It's going to be like someone spanking your prostate, 2003. I can almost guarantee most of you were not born around that time, and your parents were yet to make the biggest mistake of their life. But to give you an idea, Halo Combat Evolved, the first ever first-person shooter in a 3D environment, with the first ever Xbox, was released in the same time frame. And the Iraq War had just started, which gave birth to a bunch of recorded war crimes, recorded probably on the first flip phone with a camera, and later being uploaded to 4chan. Anyway, Second Life is free to play and still around to this day, but the player count each year is slowly diminishing due to the fact the game isn't as moderated as it used to be, and a lack of support and updates, with the general consensus being the devs have given up on the game. But the game is still quite popular, with 200,000 people logging in daily as of 2023, and it was recorded recently on average it has 30,000 players concurrently playing at a time. So yeah, it's still doing pretty well, better than Concord at least. But just to give you an idea of how even more popular and influential this game used to be, it saw its peak all the way back in 2010, with upwards of 80,000 players playing it at a time, with 69 million accounts created in total. So it has lost some popularity since its peak, but it's still holding on strong, even though a few weeks ago I did not know what it was, and was disgusted to find out VRChat had a predecessor, with a similar or worse state of degeneracy, of which we will get into later. Anyway, Second Life, like VRChat, yes, I'm going to be making constant comparisons, because this game was the first prime ape in the evolution timeline of VRChat, and I suffered 3,000 hours in one of those games, so I may as well put that knowledge to good use. But like VRChat, it was a game that didn't really have an objective, a campaign, or winners or losers, but just playing the game put you in the latter camp anyway. The only objective was to socialise and make friends. The game marketed itself as a place you can create, connect and chat with others, and even find your own community. The game even had VR support. In fact, it's available on desktop, VR and mobile devices. But if you do start playing it on phone, please promise me you will be playing the game with both hands on the device at all times.
I'm about to blow.
But the game actually became a viable option during COVID for business and online meeting, even marketed itself as such. Yes, I'd love my mandatory online meeting with HR for yelling racial slurs to be conducted by somebody wearing a hot dog suit, but many people reported that the game was not the best environment for business activities. But the concept is rather straightforward and once again runs in parallel with VRChat. Join a world or instance that either has a minigame or just a common ground to communicate, and make friends from there. I'll probably be spending most of my time in the casino world apparently. However, what sets Second Life apart from its later evolution VRChat is the microtransactions and the currency and the vast amount of things you can do with it. The currency on the platform being the Linden dollar, where one Linden dollar is worth 0.0031 American dollar, or 1,000 is worth around $3.10. You can also earn this currency by selling products or services, and yes, by services there have been times where people have resorted to online prostitution to earn this currency. I don't know why, but this just kind of reminds me of Habbo Hotel ERP. I don't know why, but they are synonymous of each other. Babies really do follow in their father's footsteps. But you can also earn them by completing surveys and jobs. You know those ads you used to get every now and again where they would tempt you into the delusion that just simply playing a game will earn you money, but in reality the withdrawal fee is sky high, there's no work for you to do, and they just sold your information. There were websites like that where you could get paid in Linden to download certain software or review certain products. But why is Linden so important? Well, to customize your avatar or your virtual home, you need this currency. You could also use it to expand your virtual home, or if you want land instead of a Linden home, it's something you can also have to pay monthly land use fees on. Damn, first to get fucked by tax IRL, now you're getting fucked by in the virtual world, like fucking hell. Where an entire region of land is $166 a month, which you can use to build whatever you want on it, host events and activities, and you can even terraform the land, which is very reminiscent of the old Jurassic Park Tycoon game I played as a kid. They released at the same time. But you can even trade or even lease land from someone that definitely did pay that extortionate price. And there are even bespoke websites and estate agents to sell or rent land. Or you could just trade the land for more land, or even just sell it for more than you bought it for. One big element of Second Life is the concerts and music scene, where you have people performing their own music from the safety of their own home, and event schedules can be found on the Second Life official website. This naturally comes with such things as the dancing and clubbing scene, which I assume is just people hitting the same emote at the same time. And of course you have the trolls of the platform, targeting those that take the game way too seriously.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not. I don't like the way you talked to me last night. Asked me if I wanted to watch you fuck my daughter. I don't think so, pal.
Can I come inside?
No.
The most notorious one being Britbong, who got banned off the platform and multiple other platforms.
Yeah, some Londons for myself, but I'm going to work right.
That's pretty selfish, dang.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty selfish too to go sitting in a chair looking like that and
Oh my god!
You also have on the platform, who would have thought, dating, which is very prevalent on the platform, in which there are filters on the website to sort for worlds for people interested in said topic to find each other. There's even an item in-game you can buy that assists in turning the game into Tinder. I feel I should be surprised, but after seeing things like Tinder Watch and the war crimes of VRChat, I think I'm desensitized at this point. But that is a basic definition of Second Life, because there is so much on this platform, and I was surprised by how many features it has, and the amount of capabilities in the game, to the point where some people actually might consider this game their second life. I mean, they've already started paying shitty rent and taxes, doesn't get much better than that. Tax evasion is a thing, just saying. But once again, despite releasing in 2003, Second Life is still very much alive. Even with its slow dissipation of players from its peak, and despite competitors such as VRChat coming onto the scene, it still has a loyal player base and still has new players visiting each day. But many of the most loyal players that have spent over a decade in the game, one that has spent 17 years daily playing the game, and are only just now leaving the platform.
Spare change, ma'am.
But why is this? Why are some of the most loyal players leaving the game? Well, obviously one of the more smaller reasons is due to the fact playing a game for 17 years and being the last one left after all the friends you've made on that platform have gone on to greener pastures and moved on with their life. It's really depressing. It's like going through your old Xbox friends list and seeing your last friend was online a decade ago. At that point, yeah, just move on. The other reasons are to do with the Second Life platform itself, and more commonly, how it hasn't and has changed, and the extensive problems with it.
John in Tennessee, go ahead, what you want to say?
That shit's fucking trash, dog. Get the fuck off the airwaves.
Oh.
So one of the reasons people have been leaving is maybe due to the game itself. The game is hugely outdated. Yes, it did come out in 2003, but developers can still change the game and upgrade the game engine, and even add more mechanics, with the only cost being they may lose some of their player base that have been running on older systems, and it will probably give birth to a whole new load of bugs. But think of something like CSGO. The beauty of many people's lives being turned into CSGO 2, competitive got turned into Premier for some reason. I can get a rank on each map now, which is about as useful as having a ranking system for the butt plugs I use on my ass when playing the game, and they also changed the smokes, I guess. I really do miss the old CS. But as an example of a game company updating their engine and game, which Second Life did try to do in 2017, quite similar to the aforementioned CSGO situation, where they updated the engine and game by creating a whole new game, and this was called Sensor, but it ultimately failed. Unlike CSGO, people were not forced to move to the other game, and people were just not interested in Censor and wanted to stick to Second Life. And they did work on it for a few more years, but just couldn't get the player base in, and they ended up putting it up for sale in 2020. The most they actually did with Second Life recently was probably their last major update, which was in 2020, which worked on things like the lighting and the performance of the game and also the creative capabilities of people. But since 2020 they haven't really released much else except for hot fixes now and again, but they haven't really done anything innovative in a long time. The game still looks and plays like old school RuneScape, but I would argue that RuneScape is more graphically complex in this game, but just generally no new content has been added to the game in years, and there's nothing to sustain a regular player base. Yes, they occasionally poke the barely alive horse with some updates and fixes, but it is nothing groundbreaking. Think of Overwatch 1. The game was great from 2016 to 2019, but after 2019 they changed it up. They went from releasing at least one new character a year, like the shit-stain and cause of its downfall, Brigitte. But after that, no new characters or major updates came out, and the game stagnated, and people just got bored of playing it. It was a visual simulation of NyQuil. It was that boring. And yes, they were working on Overwatch 2, which was not in the least way worth neglecting the predecessor, but Second Life is 10 times worse in terms of updates, and it's still outlived Overwatch. Another thing regular players critique is the moderation. One would think that a social game would have strict and consistent moderation, on the same levels as when I got comms banned on Marvel Rivals for getting annoyed at the enemy healer and saying Jeff would make a perfect portable fleshlight. Anyway, but Second Life has adult regions, something you can only access through age verification, which can be easily bypassed. They did used to have ID verification, which they removed in 2012 for some reason. But on these adult islands, they basically allow you to do whatever you want. There's kink events, brothels, explicit items you can buy for your avatar, which has caused a problem because they have seeped into the non-18 plus areas, where you can see people gooning in the tutorial room. But we'll talk more about that later. You have content from the marketplace being stolen and re-uploaded for profit. Scams, bots and malicious links are commonplace in the platform, and the moderation is very slow to catch up with these issues. Unlike its child VRChat, there are not hosts or mods of each instance to moderate and to remove these people, and it heavily relies on the dev moderation team to ban these people. But once again, moderation tackling most of these issues is rather slow, and on top of the fact there's barely any new content, people have started to believe they've given up, and that's made it easier for competition like Rec Room and VRChat to scoop that player base up, for better or for worse. Probably worse, there's a lot more minors and problems with VRChat. So Second Life as a game is rather open to the NSFW, and it could be said as a game they advertise or endorse it, as it's even on the actual website. There's bespoke zones for it, allowing for the sale of explicit items and customizations, such things as a massive flaccid horse cock, to take part in these activities. There's brothels and strip clubs in the game, where in-game currency and actual IRL currency can be exchanged for services such as in-game coitus. Yes, I'd love to become a virtual cook for my own avatar, as they hit that one Fortnite emote in synchronization that makes it look like for a single second that my genitals bruised their left labia, because that has always been my life's purpose. But all of this has led to the game having the reputation as the sex game, and even more infamously things like grooming, as the age rating starts at the age of 16, but for some reason a game that is very open and allowing of the NSFW went from confirming your age through identification from legal documents to completely scrapping that system and just asking you how old you are, hoping you don't lie to them. So you have people lying saying they are 16 just to play the game, or saying they are over the age of 18 so they can get access to the adult parts of the game. But even if you didn't lie about your age, once again the NSFW will find you, as there is 3 sections to the game. There's the general land where there's no NSFW allowed at all, and is the only place where people under 18 can play. You have the moderate land where some NSFW is allowed, but you have to be over the age of 18. Then you have the adult land where most NSFW is allowed. But once again, with the reputation of the game, you can find the NSFW activities leaking into places it shouldn't be, where sometimes you can see someone strolling around with their cock out. But even the adults and loyal players of the game are getting sick of the NSFW culture of the game, as most conversations revolve around it, or they have people just starting conversations wanting it, and there's a lack of just normal conversation. There's also previously been a big age play epidemic, where people cosplay as being babies and either join families, or God forbid, perform NSFW activities as the baby. Altogether, this may be why more loyal players are leaving, and why the game has such a bad reputation.
Do not redeem the card! What? Do not redeem!
Now, things like some prices of land and the market being controlled by players and estate agents. Once again, it's wild to me that there's estate agents in a game, but some players have begun noticing over time the prices of things within the game are going up, more specifically the price of land. Not only the monthly fee you have to pay and the outright fee you have to pay to get it, but the people selling and renting their own land are doing at extortionate prices, at least compared to previous years. And the price of in-game currency has not changed to match this difference. And with the increased price of cosmetics and land, some loyal players just can't afford it anymore. The monthly fee on land and the reduction of people playing the game means there may be less people visiting their lands and events, so that's not that worth it. It's not worth paying a monthly fee from upwards of $20 a month to maintain land that they've made memories on throughout the years. And after a few weeks of not paying that price, their land is just auctioned off. So a lot of players and loyal players just don't see the financial benefit contributing to the economy of the game or just playing the game in general. And when you have platforms like VRChat where you can create a world for yourself for no amount of money, and you don't have to pay a monthly fee to have that world hosted, some players are going to go to alternative platforms because of that.
Dude, I hear you slapping your meat.
Now, many say Second Life is a dead game, but that is far from the truth. Yes, its population may have dissipated from its peak, but it still has some new players and loyal players logging in every day. And I would say with its alternative games like VRChat, I think both games have these same problems and are on the same level of how problematic they both are, but they're both synonymous with each other. They are the same game. Second Life is desktop VRChat that has been around since 2003. That's all I had to say in this video. This game is desktop VRChat with an appearance of old school RuneScape, industrialized with more microtransactions and a player economy. Same level of degeneracy, same events happening, same game, but they're just more open about the NSFW. That is the video, that is the synopsis on the back of the book. But maybe Second Life is just getting started, or from a lack of content it will slowly die. Only time can tell. But that's all I wanted to say, and bye bye.